Aloha, everybody, and welcome back to Faith and Family First. I'm your host, Eva Andrade. I'm here with Marcus Oshiro, and we are now moving into the second part of our discussion. We started last week about the legislative process, but now we're going to actually pull aside some of the veils. We're going to talk about what's happening behind the scenes. So let's chat about that. All right, Marcus.
Pulling back the
Pulling back
curtain.
the veil. It's like the Bible, you know, when Jesus died and the veil was torn.
Okay, well, we're going to expose that side of the process.
And Marcus, one of the things I appreciate about you being part of this discussion is because we know, and I've done this for a long time, so I know what's happening on the surface. People know what's happening on the surface. They see what's happening on social media. They see what's happening in the newspaper. They see what legislators are posting on their own social media page. But there's things happening behind the scenes that you might be able to shed some light on because it'll help us plug in.
Yeah.
Okay, so where we ended, we ended the last show about how fast everything moves during the legislative session. Yes. And right now, the legislature has been in for about a week. So what's happening right now is bills are being introduced fast and furious.
Yeah, bills have been introduced.
And they're being posted now.
And now they're being referred, and now they're going for public hearings.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is normally there's about 1,800 bills that are put forth every legislative session.
Yes. Yeah.
So when all is said and done, I think during a biennial we have about 4,000 ish.
Yeah, about there.
So. All the bills that are still alive from last session are still in the running,
right? Unless
they were deferred.
No, but even
if they're deferred, see, that's the other thing, Marcus. Let's real quick talk about that because people there may have been some bills that got a hearing and were deferred.
Yeah.
And now we're in a brand new session.
All that means, deferred means the pause button was placed on that bill. It can still move. It's still in the committee. It's under the jurisdiction of the chair or chairpersons, and it can move at any time. So they're still alive. There's still a pulse, and they're still active.
Unless the bill was killed. And there are times where a bill is absolutely killed.
And a bill would be killed if there was an actual vote taken to vote down on a bill, to vote to hold the bill. But if it was just deferred, it's still alive.
Yep. So if you go to the Hawaii Family Forum website and you go to our Action Center, we have a list of the bills that we were tracking from last session that are still alive. And now that a new session is coming up, we're going to be tracking the new bills that are being introduced.
And watching those old ones.
And watching the old ones.
That been deferred.
Yes.
Because they can move like you wouldn't believe.
Very quick. And again, because they've already gone through a certain part of the process. If they're in conference committee, and there were a couple of bills that went all the way to conference committee, those bills could pop and pass and be on the governor's desk in 2 weeks.
They could. And some of those bills that were deferred in committee after a hearing went through first reading, are halfway through second reading, and they're leaning forward to move. So we got to watch those also.
Yes, and there was a constitutional amendment bill that is a right to contraceptives. That bill, the notification has already been sent to the governor that that's going to be on the ballot. So that should give everybody a nice big sign of where that constitutional amendment bill is headed.
I'm glad you mentioned that because the so-called procedural requirement, constitutional requirement of notice to the governor has already been given by the Senate.
Yes.
And that's a question because is that sufficient? Is that the proper timing given the Constitution? But as far as a notice to let the governor know, hey, this bill might be coming to you,
that tells you something.
I think they did the job.
Yeah. So we have to be tracking that.
Yeah.
So right now, what's really important is that as the bills are. So I've seen people, when a bill is introduced, they immediately go into action mode and they start telling people, call the legislators and tell them not to vote this bill or not to schedule this bill for a hearing. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons of that. If the bill has not been scheduled for hearing, what are the pros and cons to people calling their legislator and telling them, vote no on this bill?
Well, I think you're expressing your thoughts, your sentiment, your belief, your understanding about a bill. which is good. We encourage that. We encourage them to engage in a dialogue. So that's fine. It ramps up a little bit more. It becomes more meaningful if the bill is scheduled for a public hearing.
Yeah, I was going to say, in my experience, I agree with Marcus that we always should raise our voice. So I want you to hear that before you hear anything else I say. That it is important to raise your voice. But I also want you to understand that if you contact your legislator and you say, vote no on SB 2222, and the bill has not been scheduled for hearing, chances are they're going to say to you, this bill hasn't even been scheduled for hearing, and they may not even mark your concern down. So just be prepared. I'm not saying don't do it. I just want to give you all of the ammunition you need for when you go in and you talk to your legislator. So what's happening right now is, you're right, the committee chairs and their committee, they're doing a couple of things, right, Marcus? They're doing internal vote counting. Right? They want to know, if I bring this bill to committee hearing, most committee chairs would like to see the bill pass.
Yeah,
right?
You would never post a bill for hearing without a belief or understanding or some certainty that, number one, certain types of testimony will come in. Number two, it will be favorable. Number three, you have the votes of the majority of the members.
Now, I want you to be...
it's very rare that a bill goes to a public hearing and is held, deferred, or even killed. That's very unusual.
Yeah, I mean, it has happened in our experience. We've done, but you're right.
I would say 95% of the time, the bills that are up for hearing on that agenda will pass.
So I want you to be honest as you can be, because I don't want to put you on the spot. But you're an ex-legislator now, so now you're more free to be honest about stuff. In your experience, is it possible for a bad bill to be introduced and to have internal private discussions where a legislator might say to another, and I know this is all, it's all hearsay, I get that, right? But I want people to understand process. Could a legislator go in and say, let's ignore this bad bill if you pass this other bill that I'm pushing?
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. That's part and parcel of politics. Whether you live in Wisconsin, Florida, Texas, California, Oregon, Washington, Missouri, New Hampshire, Maine, Connecticut, Vermont, it happens everywhere. There's always a trade-off, and that's the greatest thing about this democracy that our founding fathers put together, is that. That's the compromise. That's the trade-off that's going to be there, and constituents need to understand that. It's very human. It's a very natural kind of tendency to get your perspective or your bills out and use your leverage for a quid pro quo.
But we're not talking about a paper bag with $35,000 in it.
That's when you cross the line. When you go over that line and you start doing quid pro quo with actual dollars.
And Marcus and I said it first. We said it first on this show. Come clean. Did we not? We were saying.
And then the governor said, yes, come clean.
Yeah,
the governor said.
We said it first. It happened.
I think he heard about
first.
you, Eva.
I'm telling you, he said, come clean,
please.
And we did it in a nice way, right? We said, look, people may get mad, but I think that for somebody to come out and say, it was me and come clean,
well, let me, since we're here right now, it wasn't me, okay? It was not me. Thank you very much.
And it wasn't me that gave the paper bag, because first of all, I don't have that kind of money. So it definitely is not us. We are in it. So let's use gambling and marijuana as an example for the process. What's happening on those two issues right now that the bill, first of all, we know bills are being introduced on that. So check HawaiiFamilyForum.org, because we're going to let you know what bills are introduced on these.
So let me get the skinny on that. I believe, from what I'm hearing and from people I've been talking to, that certain legislative leaders want to make that the priority. Both legalization of marijuana as recreational marijuana. There are also certain legislative leaders who want to approve gambling.
Money, because of the money, right? It's all the money.
Well, they're saying they want new money to pay for housing, to pay for education, to pay for the kupuna and the keiki and the environment and the parks and all the good and beautiful things we treasure. But it comes at a cost.
You know, so our understanding is that even the Native Hawaiian community now, some of the leaders, not all, but some of the leaders are now coming out in strong support of having the Hawaiian community or Native Hawaiian homelands to be the recipient and the controller of the money. If you had these leaders sitting across the table from you right now, what would you say to them?
I would say, first of all, show me the money. In other words, you get out a whiteboard, you get a piece of paper, butcher paper, pencils, crayons, pens. Show me the money. Show how this money is going to magically appear in Hawaii's coffers, how it's going to benefit the citizens of Hawaii against the cost. So I don't want gross revenues, I want net revenues. Mm-hmm. And so you have to factor in all the social costs, all the law enforcement costs, all the rehabilitation costs, all the broken family costs, all the destroyed lives costs. And you quantify that for me saying, well, these are the costs, but these are the net revenues. And I can tell you this, it doesn't pencil out. So I don't think it's a good idea.
Do you have, and I'm sure you do, but let's talk a little bit about what that's going to look like for us to become financially dependent on gambling revenue.
Well, there are many states today that are financially dependent. That's the most despicable part about, predatory gambling, is that it's one of the rare instances where you have government colluding with private industry. These are not profits, benevolent society. These are businessmen and women. These are multinational corporations based overseas. It's all about money. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have government partner with them to ensure their success. And to ensure their success, you're going to have to tilt the playing field to advantage this one particular industry, one particular business, at the expense of the citizens that you're supposed to be there to serve and to protect.
And isn't it interesting?
And that's the most perverse thing about this whole notion about gambling.
No.
That government is going to get into bed with gambling.
And did not some things happen behind the scenes on the leader of Venezuela being removed? There was some money that took place.
There's this thing called predictive markets right now. They go under the brand name like Kalshi, or they go Poly Market, and you can actually wager like, is Trump going to take Maduro out of Venezuela? How long will it take? Will any men get killed?
Did happen.
And it did
Our
happen.
understanding, allegedly,
it did happen. According to the report, there's some unknown person there who bought some shares.
They made $500,000.
$400-something thousand on that decision. Now, can you imagine the same going on with the press secretary for the president having a press conference, normally runs 60 minutes, and they're waging upon whether or not she's going to end the press conference on time, before or after, and they're waging money. And then what happens last week is that she cuts it short by a couple of minutes, and everyone's freaking out because they've been gambling, wagering on Poly Market. And is that what we want here?
And it's the same thing with marijuana, right? The revenue for marijuana, isn't it the same?
Oh, that's why, again, the question I'm going to ask you, show me the money. Show me the money. Where is the money right now? And I can bet you this. This is just my speculation. You think the medical marijuana guys want recreational marijuana to come in? I don't think so. I think the medical marijuana guys still have not gotten their return on their investment. They need more time. But they want to make sure that their interests are protected, their money is protected. And it's already a gray market out there because of the laws right now. Law enforcement can't tell store-bought marijuana versus street-bought marijuana. It looks the same. It smells the same. It burns the same, okay?
And with marijuana, there's a lot of legislative regret that's taking place across the nation.
I think the Democrat, former governor of Iowa is saying, I regret.
Yes.
The governor of Hickenlooper, I think, from Colorado, said, I regret that decision. It was a bad decision. We shouldn't have done that.
Yep. So Governor Green, I make a personal plea to you that before you push marijuana, talk to your counterpart in Iowa and find out what's going on, because my understanding is he's watching what's happening in his home.
Isn't Governor Green a doctor? I think he's okay. He's not a JD. He's not a juris doctor. He's a medical.
He is an
he's a medical
emergency room
doctor.
physician.
He's a medical
Yeah.
doctor. You know, like
Yes.
he probably would know about the dangerous effects on the mind, on the body,
Well,
on
he
the
would,
lungs.
I can't speak.
I'm sure he would know.
I can't speak for you, but I can guarantee that he's fully aware of the dangers of marijuana.
That's
and probably,
good because if he
yeah.
is and he's relying upon his pedigree as a doctor, trained doctor, one of the best in the country, the only doctor governor in the nation, is very unique.
Yes,
You know.
yes, he's got a lot of.
Yeah, he shows. I think he probably knows this is a bad idea.
And he probably is split in that. I'll bet you. And I don't. Again, I don't speak for him, and I'm sure I'd get an email or a
split,
phone
like
call.
split personality?
But no, I would say that the medical side of him,
Oh,
he
yeah.
does understand all of that.
Yeah, sure.
But there's that business side of him that he's listening probably to the legislators and the lobbyists and all those guys from the other side that are telling him that money is going to come into the state that is going to benefit the state.
Then we go back to what I said. The question
Exactly.
you ask these guys is, show me the money.
And
know
you
what
know
I mean?
what? And Pontius Pilate not Pontius Pilate. I'm having a mental block now. The disciple that ended up hanging himself, Judas. Thank you. Yeah, Judas received money. He received some kala for his information. And what happened to him? I would say that if you're going to get money and it's going to be blood money, run away.
Well, I think it's,
Run
I
away.
I think it's in the book.
It is the book, the good book.
The book says this, right? What does it profit a man to gain the entire world and lose his soul? So I think there's a little lessons there. I'm not being preachy, but I remember reading that.
No, I don't. And it's really important because I've had this conversation with people that support, and it is interesting. Not everybody that supports gambling supports marijuana, and not everybody that supports marijuana supports gambling. There is some people that do both, but they both are saying the same thing. Let this become legalized so we can bring the revenue into the state.
Yeah.
And I will say for both of those issues, I believe that it's blood money.
Well, okay, and you show me the money. You show me the money. Again, I don't want gross. I want net.
But you don't want it in a paper bag.
I don't want it in a paper bag. That's not transparent. That's not verifiable. And that's scary if it's in a brown paper bag.
So do you think that right now the discussions that are taking place on the legislature, do
Yeah,
you think it's all about money, or do you think there's other reasons?
I think a lot of it has to do with money because they got $1.6 billion in the rainy day fund right now. That's more than enough. They can make some changes with the rollbacks on the higher income tax cuts that were much celebrated in 2024. And the practical political side, most of those households making $200,000 or more are not going to vote for the Ds. I can guarantee you that.
So
if they vote for the Ds because they have a conscience and they realize they can contribute more to the social safety net and it benefits all of them. But the D's are not going to lose any votes by doing that.
Well, and what
won't.
What worries me, Marcus, is the discussion that I have seen taking place that rather than the legislature pass this, that they were going to put it as a constitutional amendment out to the people.
Well, yeah, that's why that came out from David Tornes from the Big Island. I put a constitutional amendment regarding legalization of recreational marijuana. But fortunately, the editorial boards at the Star Advertiser were awake. And they were sober, and they came out and they said that's a bad idea.
It is a bad idea because people will vote without having all the information necessary to make a wise decision. And actually, people are saying that now with the rail. Do you know how many people voted for the rail and are now saying, I wish I had known A, B, and C before I voted yes? I prophesy that if we legalize gambling or marijuana by constitutional amendment, we will have Hawaii regret. This is a prophecy. I am telling you, we will have Hawaii regret.
I'll double down on that prophecy. There's going to be Monday morning regret. And the scary thing about this is this. I did some research. We talked about constitutional amendments. That's the foundational document guiding all laws, all policies in the state of Hawaii. The last time we had a constitutional convention was in 1978 boys and girls, men and women.
Okay.
1978.
That's a long
Okay,
time
if
ago.
you want to do it
Yeah.
correctly, if you want to really make some big changes to the Constitution, convene a Constitutional Convention. You have a chance to do it in an upcoming vote. To vote
Every
on whether
10 years,
every 10 years.
Hawaii has to be
but
asked.
to go
Yep.
and select one policy question, one legal question, one law question, like should we legalize marijuana, yes or no? That is inappropriate for a constitutional amendment. Similarly, should we allow gambling in Hawaii?
Contraception.
No, but these are inappropriate because there's so many degrees and variables and colors and sizes and of
Yeah.
all these policy decisions. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe gambling in the form of scratch-off bingo. Maybe that's gambling in the form of shipboard casinos. But when you say gambling, that's everything, right? That's internet gambling. That's cell phone, iPhone gambling. That's sport betting on these things.
And it will end up in the hands of our children. It will. And if you say you're watching right now, you're listening, you're going, no, it won't. Really? Tell me how vaping worked out.
Oh, tell me about tobacco. What's
How'd that work?
the smoking age of tobacco?
And alcohol.
Is it 21?
Alcohol is 21 too. Does that mean that
I
everybody
hear people
underage-
drinking? I see them smoking.
And actually, the numbers that are coming out now saying that teens are giving up the alcohol side because they're all moving towards the drug side.
it's easier. You can use the vape machines.
Well, vaping is already an issue. You legalize marijuana.
No,
How is marijuana not going to end up as part of the vaping epidemic?
My suggestion would be the 76 trombones at the state capitol. You guys got to really dig in, get serious, get real, get parental maybe. Ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
Don't let the fancy dancy guys in suits coming in from outside of town, the multinationals, monopolistic guys come into town.
And don't let them fool you because they bring in the one brown-skinned guy from Y&I. You know what I mean? It's like
But you're gonna be two
or
guys.
maybe two. Because really, if you talk to the heart and soul of the islands, most people do not want anything that's going to hurt our keiki or our kupuna to be law.
So don't get overwhelmed by the FanDuels, the DraftKings, the MGM bets, the 360 bets. You know what I mean?
So you recently saw a video that actually had some local guys talking about various issues.
Yeah. This is influencer, young guy, kind of early 30s, real nice guy. I think he does a great podcast. But on that show, he had Pu'uhonua, otherwise known as Bumpy Kanahele.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bumpy had the opinion that they support gambling, and he thinks that's going to be a priority for part of the Hawaiian community in 2026. He sees it as a revenue, new source of revenue. It sounds like his support is conditioned upon
Hawaiian
this,
control.
Hawaiian control. Now, I don't know if that means OHA. I don't know if that means Department of Hawaiian Homelands, Hawaiian Home Commissioners. I don't know what he means by that. But he's trying to express, I believe, that usually these decisions are made without consultation or buy-in of the Hawaiian community. So he wants to make sure. And I respect that. I respect Bumpy.
So here's a call to action right now.
Yeah.
If you're a Native Hawaiian, if you're a Native Hawaiian and you're concerned about these issues, then you should be plugging in with the Native Hawaiian community so they know that it sounded to me like, and I watched that portion too, it sounded to me like they really do want the Native Hawaiian voices to have a place in the discussion.
Yeah.
And if you're Native Hawaiian, that means your voice should count. I tell you Native Hawaiians, if you stay quiet, there's going to be voices that are going to speak for you.
Well, I think the idea is that they visited with different indigenous tribes, First Nation peoples. They got to sit around, talk to the board of directors, experience the casino experience on the mainland. The DHHL annual convention occurred in Washington State, Tulala Casino and Resort. I think that's what they're envisioning right now, resort/casino being situated somewhere in Hawaii. I know that the developer of the Aloha Halava development is thinking about putting it where Aloha Stadium is
Can
right
we
now.
just say Aole?
Well, Ole, but they want Aloha Stadium, and it makes sense because let me tell you why it makes sense. It's 15 minutes from the airport. Neighboring islanders can fly in. Mainland people can fly in. If it's a resort, if it's a resort entertainment district, you can fly people in from Japan. Get on the plane, fly over here. See,
Speaking of Japan,
Taylor Swift. Okay, we can talk.
Okay.
Taylor Swift. And then, Eva, this is the scary part about it. I realized this other night. To get from the windward side, because of H3, it takes you 20 minutes.
right?
That's why Aloha Stadium is in that area. People need to understand. That's why they built it in that area. And then now you got the rail from Kapolei coming in there. I think there's like 9 stops, 15, 20 minutes. This is the idea. You get the casino/resort there. You have a feeding from all these districts, all these areas coming in. No need drive.
Sounds like a spider
You
web to me.
Yeah, no need drive. Get into that thing. You know what I mean? So for the casino entertainment district operators, that's a boondoggle because I'm not paying for the rail. But I'm getting the benefit because I'm going to be the destination.
Yeah.
People are going to ride the rail. The mayor wants that. The rail guys want that. Ridership goes up. Everybody's happy. But it's going to cost the people of Hawaii dearly.
Aole. Right. It just
So
bothers me.
it's scary.
It is scary to me.
It's scary because they're really seriously thinking about it.
Well, I'm seeing in my mind, I'm seeing a spider web. And the thing about spider webs, if you watch Lord of the Rings, you know, what happens is you get stuck in the spider web. And guess what the spiders do when you're stuck in the spider web? They come and they suck you dry. And I'll tell you what, if you think it's time for the government to if you want to give your money to the government, then that's between you and the government. But we're going to continue the discussion. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know every time we upload a new video. And we appreciate you taking the time to watch. Make sure you comment below. We will see all of you next week. Mahalo, everybody.
No gambling.